right, everybody. Welcome to Best Coast Podcast, where camaraderie brings sports fans together. I'm your host, JJ. This is your host, Zack. And we're here after the Super Bowl, after the Eagles kicked the crap out of the Chiefs.
A fucking shellacking is probably the best
Dude.
way. That was actually an enjoyable game to watch. That felt good. Like, I was glad it was a blowout. I don't think anybody wanted to sit around and stress over a close game. Like, it was kind of
right?
Super Bowl, I think, for a lot of people to watch. Commercials were underwhelming, as always. I personally enjoyed the halftime show. I know it's been a subject of much debate over the over the last week. I did like Samuel L. Jackson being the surprise guest. You know, like,
dude, that was awesome.
Oh, dude, Uncle Sam! It makes perfect sense. It's great.
He made a perfect Uncle Sam, I thought. And then Serena Williams doing the crip walk, dude, that was fucking dope.
That was pretty cool too. I enjoyed the halftime show, but I like hip hop and I like Kendrick Lamar, and I'm from the West Coast, so I'm partial to all of that.
Right.
But
I was into it. I liked it. I mean, I personally didn't watch it. I had to watch all the highlights because it's the halftime. It's halftime at the Super Bowl. I'm getting up. I'm doing stuff. I'm making food. I'm getting shit ready. I got music cranked up and I'm listening and I'm rocking out to it or rapping out to it, or however you want to say.
Yeah.
And then just having a good beat. And then I get back and everybody's like, "Oh, did you see all these hidden messages about the PlayStation controller? How he bounced around from circle, square, X to triangle, blah 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 blah." And came out on his 67 whatever and shit like that. And
Grand National, yeah. No, there were a lot of layers to it. I thought one of the most diabolical parts was during Not Like Us, when he looks at the camera and smiles, like, directly into Drake's eyes in his living room in Toronto. He was like, "Say, Drake, I heard you like I'm young." Like, that was...
I caught that part live.
That's the most... I mean, I aspire to be that petty about anything. Like,
right.
Like, someone throwing the towel on Drake. Like, this is just stop. Like, stop. It's almost not fun. It's almost not funny. Almost, because I enjoyed that part. No, I thought it was great. SZA, I'm not super familiar with her work, but the way that she sang Rihanna's parts in the song from Black Panther, I thought she fucking nailed it. Like, those are
right.
There's a lot of talent there, so I enjoyed that part of it. But back to the game. This was, I think, Vic Fangio and Sirianni and the Eagles defensive staff, I think they looked at a lot of tape from when the Bucs beat the Eagles 3 years ago. Right. And there were a lot of defensive similarities. Now, granted, when you just overwhelm the offense and give the quarterback no time to throw, yeah, that's going to happen. But the main difference to me that I remember was in that Bucs game, Mahomes was like playing his ass off. Like, he was making throws. His receivers absolutely hung him out to dry. Like, there's that one like still picture of Mahomes like parallel to the ground, like throwing a sidearm pass that hit Tyreek Hill in the head in the end zone. Like, that should have been a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes looked like absolutely. It was probably one of the worst games I've seen Patrick Mahomes have as a pro in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Got to give a ton of credit to Vic Fangio and that Eagles defense. Like, they came and they brought the heat, and they hit him early, and they hit him often, and they hit him hard. And that's going to get even the best quarterbacks out of their game. And they didn't have an answer for it. They couldn't figure out a blocking scheme. Then they got down, then they got behind, and they had to try to play catch up. And at that point, they played right into the plan that the Eagles had hatched. So congrats to Sirianni, congrats to Jalen Hurts, congrats to Saquon, congrats to everybody on that Philadelphia team. That was a full dominating team effort. Every man who dressed on that Sunday absolutely came out and did their job. So, hey, congratulations to them. They earned it.
Hey, I went epic when Cooper Sheen got that pick 6, dude, on his birthday, dude. I was fucking going, dude, I was like, this game's going to be over faster than people think. I knew once that point happened, dude, this game was going to be...
To me, it was...
the defense was going to be overwhelming.
It was the Devontae Smith deep shot. Like, to me, that was like...
That was a killer, too.
Yeah, that was just dagger. I feel like the pick 6 is like, hey, those happen, blah, 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 blah. But something about that deep shot, like... The stadium almost got quiet. Like, Chiefs fans were like, "Oh no! Like, we're not going to win. Like, there's not going to be."
That was at the beginning of the second half, right? That was right there at the beginning of the second half. I thought.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was. I think it was early in the third. So
something like that. Yeah.
Right. There's no run game. Chiefs really didn't have an answer defensively. I mean, they're on the field too much. I mean, they absolutely could not get off the field, and it happens. I think it speaks to how lucky the Chiefs really did get this year. And you can say whatever you want about the refs, but I mean, like a toe out of bounds, a blocked field goal win, like fluky weird shit happening showed, and their luck finally ran out. Their luck finally fully ran out.
You heard about the ref that ref the AFC Championship game, right?
What about him?
Oh, he got suspended for 10 games and fined $500,000 for betting on the game. They swept that shit under the rug. That's the news. I've heard it, seen it in one or two articles that the ref for the AFC Championship game got suspended. I meant to send you the article when I got it. Yeah, he got suspended for 10 games and $500,000 fine because he was linked to gambling on the game. I don't have the article with me. I didn't have it pulled up. I thought you knew about it. So yeah, that's why that game was ref completely differently and compared to what it has been over the last week.
I think this got debunked actually.
Oh, did it get defunct? Okay. I've been studying chemistry like all week long so hard. So I saw the article, I read it once, and then I was like, okay, store that away for mental if it comes up in refs in this podcast.
No, that's actually sorry, you took the bait, James. That's not true.
I took the bait. Not true. Okay. Not true.
I just checked it 3 different places and not true.
Right. I only saw the one, like I said, it was only like 1 or 2 articles I saw about it. I never got a real chance to look into it too much. I just read it real quick and moved along. I was like, cool, I'll keep this in mind. But I mean, I do think the game got ref differently than it has been for the Chiefs all year.
It did. There were definitely, I think, like the double fist to Mahomes' face. Now, granted, he had already gotten rid of the ball. But I feel like earlier in the season, they're going to call a roughing the passer and legal hands to the face. And I want to say that was like on a fumble as well. And so it would have negated the fumble.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't call that. Like why they couldn't do that, starting in September is a great question. But it did. The Chiefs kind of got exposed. You definitely see that there's going to be some turnover on that roster for sure.
Right. And I heard like Andy, I don't know, some dumb reporters like threatening and telling Andy Reid to step down because he's too old and stuff like that. It's like, dude,
I'm sorry. All he does is all Andy Reid has ever done is take his team deep in the playoffs.
Every year is in there, from Packers, Eagles to Chiefs now.
Right.
Every year.
Right. Exactly. It's ridiculous to even say that to him, and that's just a reporter trying to get people like you and I to fucking talk about it. No, that's ridiculous. Andy Reid, much like Bill Belichick, has earned the right to leave when he wants to.
Exactly, and he will. I think if he would have won this year, I could see him hanging up. He's like, "Oh, cool, I got the 3-peat. I'm out of here. See you guys."
I actually don't think he would have hung it up. I think again he would have come back and ran it back with these guys. Dude, Patrick Mahomes just barely turned 30. Like when you're Andy Reid, it's like, why would I walk away when I've got a generational talent? Like
the best quarterback he's ever coached, for sure.
For sure, without a doubt. I mean, I think anybody that's coached Patrick Mahomes could probably claim that at this point. I wouldn't walk away either. It's like, they got some questions. What do you do with Kelsey? What do you do with Chris Jones? There's some.
Well, they gave Kelsey that date to decide whether he wanted to retire or not. They gave him a hard deadline.
Yeah, for sure, and they'll do that. At some point, someone's gonna poach Spagnuolo. I know they just gave him an extension last year, but at some point, someone's gonna poach him one of these years to give him another head coaching shot. No,
I think that would be his 3rd head coaching job, or is it second? Only his 2nd. Did he? Because I thought he did a small stint in New Orleans. He was like intermediate head coach.
You mean interim? An interim head coach? I thought wasn't he an interim head coach for the Giants?
He might have been too. Like
Okay.
I think he always gets the lands like once the coach leaves, he's like the
Well, I know
instrument, whatever you want to
he
call
was
it.
he was the legit Rams coach for a while. I remember,
Right. And I liked him as a coach personally. When he was a coach, I was like, dude, this defense is fucking stacked. We're kicking ass left and right.
Well,
and,
we all talked about how
the offense.
Well, yeah, they did it on purpose to tank them so that they would move out of St. Louis. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, the Chiefs, have some work to do here, as every team that loses the Super Bowl does. But you still have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and ownership and a GM willing to spend money, and it's a good. You have a diehard fan base, and people want to come play there. So I would not count them out. The way Philly looked down the stretch, and it'll be interesting to see how Kellen Moore leaving, how that affects that offense. But that defense is super young. Saquon's under contract. Pretty much everyone on that team is under contract. All your starters.
Honestly, I think
they look in a good position.
I gotta interrupt. I think Kellen Moore leaving is gonna be a good thing for that. I think everywhere. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Kellen Moore.
Well, I look at the Eagles' offense, how it finished last year, and then what they did this year with Kellen Moore, and
right.
He made a huge difference, I think, to get them over the hump.
I think that was mainly Saquon that got him over the hump, though.
Well, it is, but someone still got to design plays and figure out ways to take advantage of having Saquon in that offense. I've always actually been a Kellen Moore fan. I think he's everywhere you go, his teams put up numbers. Sometimes when you're in Dallas, it's like you're just at the mercy of your idiot owner and your meatball of a head coach, and stuff like that. I mean, look, Justin Herbert had a monster year last year, or 2 years ago when he was the OC in Los Angeles there. So I think as a head coach now, granted, he's going to was probably the least desirable coaching position out there. Salary cap hell, no quarterback. There are some things. He said he was non-committal on Carr Day. Derek Carr is supposed to get paid like $32 million next year. He is not worth $32 million.
No.
Derek Carr is not worth that money. So do you cut him? Do you bring in someone to challenge him? I mean, look, you've got
Aaron Rodgers will be available.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I can't think of a team desperate enough out there to sign Aaron Rodgers. Not even the Raiders.
Yeah, that's why I thought that the stupid Collar deal, like, oh yeah, trade Stafford to the Giants, get a 3rd round pick, and then sign Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, no, what the fuck are you doing?
Why would you trade an old quarterback for an old quarterback that's actually shitty in the locker room?
No. You trade Stafford for the Giants' 3rd round pick.
Right.
So the Rams would get
Rodgers,
and then you sign you get the best quarterback available in the next best quarterback available in the draft.
You mean the number 3 pick?
Yeah, which would be the next best one, because I don't think number 2 doesn't need a quarterback.
Number 2 is going to be that Penn State defensive end going to the Browns.
Right.
Right.
That's what everybody's.
That would actually be Shedeur Sanders.
Right. Because it's probably going to be Cam Ward is going to be the number 1 pick.
Cam Ward's going to be number 1 to Tennessee.
Yeah. And if they take Sanders, then that'd be dumb of them. And I personally don't want Sanders. I think he's got the physical aspect. I just don't think he's not
the right quarterback for McVay's offense.
I don't think so either. They would have to find a quarterback for McVay's offense.
You use him like you use like a Jalen Hurts, and like a young Russell Wilson, kind of like how they're going to end up using Penix, Josh Allen, even, use him as a running weapon. But you need to have the right offensive.
USA just scored.
Oh, nice. You need to have the right offensive personnel in place for that sort of offensive play calling to work. And there's a short list of teams that can do that, and that's just not how the Rams operate.
No. That's why I thought it was a silly, dumb trade proposed by Colin Carr or whatever his name is.
The one you sent me the other day. It's like Jacksonville is stocked with wide receivers. I don't know why they would trade for Debo. And the only reason the Niners would jump up to 5 would be because there's, the Trent Williams of the future is available there at 5. And there are. Well, as we get, into draft talk down the road, as always, there's a bunch of dudes from the SEC that you could take at number 5 who are going to be your starting left or right tackle or anywhere on your offensive line for the next decade.
Right. I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
What were we talking about now?
We were talking about Kellen Moore and the Philly offense and him leaving, and we went off on
that's how we got to the Shaq.
What I was starting with was that the Eagles, as they stand right now, I know there's always a Super Bowl hangover, but they've got to be a favorite in the NFC.
Oh, 100%. Because they do have a bunch of their key defensive players leaving this our free agency.
Well, like Brandon Graham's going to retire. Like he's going to leave.
Yeah.
But I do think that they've drafted so well and have so many young defensive players to step up and fill those roles. And again, coming off a Super Bowl, you're kind of in the running and to go and like free agents are going to want to talk to you. They're going to come and want to play there. I mean, what happened to the last big free agent they signed? Had a career year and won a fucking Super Bowl. So
they've got the best running back careers that there is. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, they've got a pretty good pitch going right now. And something that Niner fans hate that for me to say right now is look how Philly ended last year. Just a smoking crater of a football team.
Mm-hmm.
We all remember who did that to them. I don't need to reiterate that game. Everybody saw. There's no reason that the Niners go and get healthy and have a good offseason and a good draft, and they brought in a new defensive coordinator. They brought back Robert Saleh. They made coordinator changes. Why they couldn't go and make the exact same run next year.
Right. I mean, I think if the Niners don't get hit with the injury bug again, they're in a spot to be competing with the Rams for the number 1 pick top at the NFC West. So they're right there. So it's still the Rams-Niners division.
Well, it is. And I think it just shows that, how much the fortunes can change in a year. Like I'll go back to, the Mike Singletary team that went 4-12 and Harbaugh came in with pretty much the exact same group of dudes in a lockout shorted season and were a Kyle Williams fumbled punt away from going to the Super Bowl. So I think with this Niners core and this Niners group, they're going to extend Kittle, the Purdy deal, all of that sort of stuff. There's no reason that they can't come roaring back and win 14 games next year.
Don't forget about the 1999 Rams, dude. They went 2-14 the year before and went 14-2 the next year.
Right.
I mean,
and then, dude, happens to the NFL. There are teams like that really you think are going to be just a doormat for so long, and then one year it clicks and they just steamroll a bunch of people. Like start hosting playoff games. It can happen. So I personally
it happens all the time.
Happens all the time, and I personally think that the Niners are in a prime position to do that this coming season.
I think so too. Like I said, if it wasn't for the injury bug that hit the Niners again this year, like it seems like every other year, I feel like the Niners get hit with the injury bug, and then it's just the Niners are poised to compete. With Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, every one of your offensive starters, with the exception of Juszczyk, missed time last year.
Right. Yeah, and you can't have that. I mean, it's not a way. That's what when the Rams were 1-5 this year. That's what everybody in the offense was hurt. As soon as they got healthy, they made this fucking great run and made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't in football. You can't have your starters hurt.
Right.
It's just
you can have a starter or two hurt, but when it's like like how the Rams were, they're completely decimated. How the Niners, I don't think ever ran out their like lineup on paper once all season, because by the time McCaffrey was back, Ayuk was already gone. So it just goes to show that injuries happen to everybody. Yeah, and it speaks to how important health is in the NFL, because when you have a good team and everybody's healthy, you win a lot of football games. That's I mean,
look at the Lions. The Lions got hit with the injury bug at the end of the year. They were able to make a great push until they actually hit a team that could have an offensive face off against their defense and just kind of slack them. You know?
I mean, if the Lions have a decent defense, I think that playoff game might end differently. But you were
100%.
With all backups out there, and not to take anything away from Washington and the explosiveness of that offense and Jaden Daniels and the Kingsbury play calling and all of that. Like that was huge. Not to take away from that, but you were playing against backups who were tired, who had been playing starter reps for a month plus at that point.
Right. And the Lions had I mean, if I remember, that game was like 33 to like 27. It was less than a 1-point game, or I mean, a one-score game.
Well, yeah, and then
at the end of it.
It got ugly at the end, but Detroit hung around.
Right.
Detroit hung around. It ended up being, I think, a two-score win. It was maybe 17 points. But yeah, they were right there. They did the best they could. I mean, that's another team that they're going to get healthy, that you got to consider an NFC favorite. I think that the loss of both coordinators for the Lions is going to be a huge problem.
It's huge.
Yes,
I think it'll be huge. Yeah,
right. That's going to be a huge problem for them. I mean, you can go around the league right now. Like, who knows what the Bears are going to do? With Caleb. Is Caleb Williams? Is Ben Johnson really going to figure out a way to make him shine, or is it just going to be another like Chicago head coach trying to polish a turret quarterback?
Right.
What are the Vikings going to do at quarterback? Is JJ McCarthy with Daniel Jones backing him up? Like, is that enough? To compete in a division? Look, KOC comes from the quarterback whisperer, family tree. So you saw what he did with Sam Darnold. I mean, he was a bust.
I don't see why he couldn't do it with JJ McCarthy, dude.
JJ McCarthy. Yeah, and if JJ McCarthy's not ready to go, I mean, Daniel Jones has shown that he can win playoff games. He is, I think, just the biggest victim ever of absolutely just fucking brain dead, like going temporarily psychotically insane offensive play calling.
I remember when, like, before the Rams, like when the Rams had Stafford, but he was hurt. I was like, please go get Danny Dimes. I'll take him. There's like trade talks for the Rams getting Danny Dimes, and I was like, yes, take him. And everybody's like, no. I was like, Danny Dimes is in a shit organization where they just run talent into the ground right now. If they would have, behind a good quarterback coach, this was back when KOC was with the Rams. I was like, he could sit down and learn from KOC. He's going to become an excellent quarterback.
Right. And same situation in Minnesota right now. They got Danny Dimes, 3/4 way through the season last year. He's been in the building, been around the system, like getting into it, working with JJ McCarthy. I think it's actually going to be an interesting quarterback battle come camp next year. And like, I get it. JJ McCarthy, you traded up. He's supposed to be the guy of the future, but we've all seen number one picks like lose their job due to injury. It happens every week in the NFL. So yeah, the quarterback question is and the coordinator question is always huge. I think getting Saleh back for the Niners, it's just going to be a 1-year audition. I think the defense is just pumped to have him back. Dude,
I was so pissed off when Saleh came back. I was like, no, dude, this guy, come on, dude. We got rid of him, and the Rams actually started winning games and the offense actually looked good against the Niners.
It ends now.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm afraid of, dude. Solid coaches against the Rams so fucking well. And it's just like, dude, damn it, this one guy didn't want back. I was like, bring back anybody else. Just don't come back Saleh. Go be the Jaguars head coach. Go be the Saints head coach. Do something else.
Right. Yeah.
Because again, that's another organization that runs talent into the fucking ground.
I think now that they got rid of Balky, I think that
I was talking about the Jets.
Oh, the Jets? Oh yeah, for sure. That's Woody Johnson. Like Woody Johnson, he's not as smart at football as he likes to think he is.
I mean, he's passionate though about his team. He loves his fucking team. Like he's one of those owners that is like Jerry Jones. He loves his team too much.
I think I get that. I think the Joe Douglas firing was just a nasty side effect of the worst trade. It's going to go down as one of the worst trades ever in the history of football.
Yeah, I agree.
Trading for Rodgers, it's like you paid him like $90 million for a season and 4 snaps of absolute fucking shittery. Just
right.
Yeah.
I still don't get how you pull the trigger on that trade. Don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers is still a service school quarterback and a number one, can start in the NFL and win you a bunch of games. Mm-hmm. But you got to have the right game plan and the right people around him to do it.
I mean, I agree with you that yes, on paper with the right people around him, but you look at his body language and like even at the end of his time in Green Bay, like I'm not going to pay a quarterback a bunch of money who half the time is disinterested and doesn't want to be there.
That's not. It does seem like he's disinterested.
Right. It seems like he doesn't want to play football anymore. So cool. Go away. Don't play football somewhere else. Like no one is interested in you or your takes on vaccines or flirting with running for vice president or like talking shit about Hollywood actresses who broke up with you because they realized what a massive douchebag you are, just like the rest of your family. Like,
right.
And then you're going to go out there and win 4 fucking games. Shut the fuck up, Aaron. Get the fuck out of here with all of that. No one wants to see that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. No one wants to hear it. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind sports players coming out and being vocal about who they want to vote for, their vaccine choice, whatever. But at the end of the day, you got to still win games and be more focused on football.
There's a difference.
We all have an opinion, and everybody has an opinion.
Okay, but James, look at it this way. There's a massive difference between Nick Bosa wearing a MAGA hat in a post-game interview and Pat McAfee continually giving Aaron Rodgers a platform to sit up there and act like he's got a fucking degree in fucking viral biology or something.
Right.
There's a difference. There's a big difference there. Yeah, dude, wear your shirt for your candidate. Like, wear your MAGA hat on TV. Wear your Kamala hat. Like, vote for some fringe third party shit. Do whatever you want to do. I'm okay for that. But the idea that Aaron Rodgers is somehow some kind of expert on everything because he's rich and has a microphone is part of the problem is part of the problem with his why he left Green Bay. What has Green Bay done? Gone to the playoffs. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Great young roster. Great young head coach. Their organization is fucking thriving without Aaron Rodgers right now. Like, I just if I'm a team, like, I sign Aaron Rodgers as a last ditch resort. Like, everyone got hurt. Our quarterbacks, actually, they were fucking running a fucking drug ring and they all went to federal prison. We don't have anybody. And we're not going to run the Wildcat. We're going to go sign Aaron Rodgers. Like, that sort of like last ditch chaos scenario is really the only way that I would look at signing him.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where he lands because he's going to land somewhere. He's definitely going to land somewhere. That in a court, because there's 20. I think there's about 7 or 8 teams that could use a quarterback of his status.
Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers?
Ooh.
Right? See, a couple of years ago that wasn't a question.
Right. That's a tough. I see. I don't think I see Kirk Cousins retiring. I do. I see him hanging it up.
Kirk Cousins is younger than Aaron Rodgers, I want to say.
Yeah, but he doesn't got the talent or athleticism that Rodgers has ever had.
Well, okay, Rodgers' athleticism is definitely it's down a couple of points. I think we all saw that list here with his inability to get away from linemen. But I would rather have Kirk Cousins in my locker room than Aaron Rodgers.
True. I would want Kirk Cousins vibes and aura in my locker room over Aaron Rodgers' aura that he gives off.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like a locker room and a team is the sum of the parts. Like, and honestly, with the way they played this year, Kirk Cousins played a lot better fucking football than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, he did. He definitely did. I definitely agree with that because he was pushing for Atlanta for a playoff push until the end of the season.
Right, and then he had like 3 or 4 bad games in a row. But dude, that Thursday night game, he set an Atlanta franchise record for passing yards against the Bucs.
That was amazing, dude. That was an amazing game, dude. I remember watching it, it was like one of the best Thursday night games I've ever seen.
It looked like a Madden game. Like they were like Baker and Kirk were like, "Cool, you want 500 yards? I want 500 yards. Let's go. All right, first 500 wins."
Yeah,
and then he just, I think the offense wasn't designed to his strengths, and I also
because you can tell it's for Penix. It's supposed to be there,
right? And I think the long layoff from the injury definitely affected Kirk Cousins as well. But if Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold, I'm gonna go Sam Darnold because he's younger and not injured. And I'm not coming from that. Who else is floating around out there as a quarterback?
I can't really think of them off the top of my head right now. We didn't.
I know there's a list. There's teams. Derek Carr gets cut. Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers.
Derek Carr.
They're both super cringy though.
Right, but see, I still like because I love Derek Carr's attitude he has towards the game. He loves the game. He wants to be there.
He loves football. You're right about that.
That's why it's like, no, okay, cool. Those two. Derek Carr, he's going to win me a couple games, and you put the right scheme and the right coach with the right coaching scheme win from, he's going to win you those games, and you can see that he can. He's got the talent too. He's just going to do Derek Carr moves, like try to dive over 2 standing people and concuss himself and break his wrist at the same time.
Right, yeah, just have the double injury. I mean, let's not forget the first 3 or 4 games of the season, the Saints put up like 50 points each week, and then he got hurt. Yeah, and then
exactly.
Apart,
then he got hurt.
Know? So I mean, I can see if I'm Kellen Moore, be like, okay, if these absolute clown fucks who were here before me were able to do that with this patchwork offense, I'm actually a smart offensive dude. Like, maybe we can make this work.
I think he could. I think he really could. I mean, like I said, I think I'd take Derek Carr in a heartbeat over Cousins or Rodgers or even Sam Darnold. So,
yeah, to me, Sam Darnold is still his youth is a big thing for him. Like, he's a big dude who's athletic, who has elite arm strength. People do not talk enough about Sam Darnold's arm strength. You can throw the ball out of the fucking stadium.
It's his accuracy is the problem, though.
Decision making too.
Too. Yeah,
I can see that. In those last 2 games, he got rattled. His eyes got big, and the stadium was loud and scary, and he got out of his game plan. And now I think also a lot of that too. The Vikings were massively unprepared in that Week 17 game against Detroit, and that's not coaching. They were overmatched in every stage of the game. You had all year knowing that you were going to have to come into Detroit on the last week of the season to win the division, and you got beat by 30 plus fucking points.
Yeah, that was bad.
Coaching. That's not coaching.
And that's what made, honestly, I think that's what gave the Rams a victory even the next week. They were crushing defeat.
The Vikings were done at that point.
Yeah. That was just like, cool. This is going to be, hopefully it's going to be an easy steamroll, and it kind of was an easy steamroll over the Vikings.
Right, and like I told
you don't put on 9 sacks in a fucking game and then be a steamroll.
Exactly. That's how you dictate the pace of the game, and that's how you tilt the scales in your favor.
See, bring up the sacks. I was like, after watching what the Eagles' defensive line did to the Chiefs, I thought the Rams held up pretty well in that playoff game against the Eagles. Speaks benefits. Yeah, Limmer gave up 2 ugly quick sacks at the end of the game. 2 ugly rookie mistakes by just letting Jaden Carler run straight at Stafford. I don't know what he was thinking at that point of the time, especially that late. But it bodes well for that offensive line that the Rams have created. Very minimal pressures, except when the Rams' offensive line made mistakes. And when they did make mistakes, they led it against the strongest person on their defense, Carter. And you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that.
A lot of it, I think the game plan was different too for Philly against the Rams as opposed to it was against KC. Like, the Rams had a lot of offensive weapons. You can't really bring 7 or 8. You need to have guys back there because the McVay offense, by design, have a lot of guys running free. I mean,
we'll pick you apart.
Yeah, exactly. Kansas City does not have those guys. Kelsey looks like he's running in slow motion out there. Xavier Worthy,
fast,
he had some nice stats. I'm sorry, that second catch he had, touchdown catch, was one of the best catches I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely goddamn ridiculous. So I mean, he's a threat, but like Hollywood Brown missed all season. You could tell he wasn't in sync with anything. Where was the running game? And I get that they got down early and they had to start throwing the ball, but like, where's like a screen pass to Pacheco or Kareem Hunt?
Let's stop right there. They came out and they passed the ball 10 times and didn't even try to run it. It's like, dude, how do you do that against this Eagles team that was giving up the run? I think their average was like 4 yards all season against the run, and you don't run it with Hunt or.
But they also cut that number in half in the playoffs.
Right.
Regular season, you could run on the Eagles in the playoffs. Dude, that shit stiffened up like a young kid at a strip club for the first time, man.
But it was, we're 2 teams, and I think that's what really cost the Chiefs is that they try not to run it. I don't get why these coaches decide to stop running the football in the playoffs.
Why they all go temporarily insane in the biggest game of their lives? Yeah, it's weird.
Even if you're only getting 2 or 3 yards, you still have to run the ball in football. I don't give a shit if you're down 20. You still have to run the ball to give that half second, quarter second.
Well, and look, in Andy Reid and Kellen Moore and like all those guys, like everything is an offshoot of some form of the West Coast offense now. You don't see anybody running an air raid or, like the student bodies, the big wing or anything like that. Everything's an offshoot of the West Coast offense. West Coast offense is predicated on being able to run the football, to use the play action to set up the pass and keep defenses guessing. When no one has to worry about the run, the wheels come off pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that was a great example of it in the Super Bowl.
True. That's very true. I can't articulate it any better than that. But it was still a great Super Bowl, man. Not seeing the Chiefs three-peat, I'm just happy that fact.
I had some friends of mine who are Philly fans. I mentioned them on the show a couple times. And so we called them like right after kickoff and we FaceTimed. They're like, "Oh, what's up, man? Cheese." I can't do a really good Philly accent, but these dudes were already belligerent. And he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I'm going to call you and take a shot after every Philly score." So as we get through the game, like they're absolutely shithoused, just completely just plastered, like doing the Phillies fly, eagle fly, doing that whole chant, dude. But it's getting more and more slurred, and they're getting like less and less farther through it each time. But they're having so much fun, and I was just like, I don't know any Chiefs fans, so I didn't have anybody to like feel sorry for, which is fine. But watching my friends who were Philly fans like rage out and just probably also have like absolutely just like death-defying hangovers that following Monday.
Do you have any Taylor Swift fans? Because they're Chiefs fans.
No, I don't know any Taylor Swift fans. I'm too old for
that.
And I did think it was interesting and pretty cool though that like I get, everyone hates the Chiefs. It was cool to like them at first, like when the Warriors won the first championship or the Patriots won the first championship or stuff like that. But now it's cool to hate them.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like...
And as being a Rams fan, I've always hated the Chiefs. Because there's a big rivalry there, because they're the two Missouri teams.
Right, exactly. No, cool. That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Okay, like that's an okay rivalry. But the booing of Taylor Swift when they showed her, and I get it, Philly fans are there. They're already up by 10 at that point. You guys have been drinking in New Orleans for 3 days. Yeah. But it's also like, if you read about what Taylor Swift does, like the way she treats like her road crew and her philanthropy and like everything she does.
She's a great person.
She's a great person. It's like she just happens to be like sleeping with the wrong dude at the game, like
on the wrong side of the team, yeah.
On the wrong team. And I thought Saquon even said that on Howard Stern this week. It was like, I don't know, she's out there supporting her man. Like, it's good to have a supportive spouse. He's like, my wife supports me. Like, that's how it's supposed to work. And he's got a good point. He's got a great point. But
it's Eagles fans. They do the obnoxious thing.
Yeah. That's their thing.
Exactly. I mean, look what they did to their city right after, dude. I was all for what they're.
That was going to happen when they lost. That was going to happen if they won or they lost. That was going to happen. It's like,
not on that massive of a scale though. If they lost,
a little less, maybe a little less. There's probably a lot more domestic violence and fights than there is crazy vandalism and burning of shit. It's going to be like there's going to be a lot of crime. It's just a different type of crime.
Exactly.
You know what?
Everybody in unison.
You know how many little fucking asshole fucking Philly kids are going to be born in 9 months and be named fucking Cooper? Mark my fucking words. Mark my fucking words, dude.
I didn't even think about that. That's true. That is very true.
I thought about that after the pick six. I was like, oh man, like it's gonna be a thing.
Oh.
Yeah, wait till those little green wearing bastards all start getting into school and there's like a class with like 7 Coopers in it, dude. Wait, it's gonna happen. Just watch. Just watch.
That's true. I 100% see that. I 100% see that.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So you wanna move off the Super Bowl here and talk about our teams a little bit more? Their off season.
We'll dive into some teams that have had some couch time already and
see what 3-1.
We got cooking here.
USA 3-1. Sorry.
Nice. Let's go, boys.
I'll go ahead and start off with the Rams. I got some because there's going to be the Rams have about like 30 people that are up for their contract. Into their contract. So I kind of want to step through those real quick because there's some of them that I want to see go and some of them I want to see come back that I don't agree with. First off the bat is Alec Jackson, the Rams left tackle. You have to sign him back. He was a key pivotal part all season long, besides those 2 games that he missed for whatever the NFL reason decided to suspend him. No, still never came out. I'm okay with that. Tutu Atwell.
Man, that just means that, man, what did he do?
Right. We still don't know.
It's either really good or really stupid for them not to announce it.
Right, and just to keep it hush hush, it's got to be really good at what he did. It wasn't like really vulgar. It was probably just something dumb that he did.
So it's like it's so dumb that we can't talk about it.
Exactly. Tutu Atwell. I'm sorry, but I've heard my pot hands Atwell. Bye bye. No boom. As he comes back, but he needs to take a pay cut. I'm all about keeping line and that kind of cohesiveness. He's been there for years. If he can come back at the right price, I want him back. Demarcus Robinson, if he still comes back at his $3 million mark, yes. Jimmy G, if he comes back at the right price, I don't mind having that veteran in the locker room still.
You don't think that it's time to make Stetson the number 2? Because Jimmy G's not coming back as a number 3.
That's just the thing. It's just, I don't know what Stetson's got. It's hard to, it's hard to see.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I could see them Rams cutting Stetson if they go draft another quarterback. If Sean McVay's not afraid to cut people. I've seen that before. We've seen that.
I get that, but they've invested a lot in Stetson Bennett already, and I think that they're as invested in Stetson Bennett the person as they are in like Stetson Bennett the football player. So that's why I don't think they'd cut him. Because from my understanding, everything that I saw is like he looks good in practice. He's there. He just didn't. Right. You're the number 3. On a team, you're not going to see the field ever. You're not supposed to.
Right.
But I could also see that Jimmy G is a known commodity, and I feel like keeping Stetson around on that rookie deal. And let Jimmy G go, and just you and your chin, Jimmy, just go start the broadcasting career. Just go start
it. Right. Everyone wants to see your pretty face on TV already. That's what everybody wants.
As much as Taylor Swift brought, girls into I'm gonna go watch football now because of this girl I like. They're gonna be like, I'm sorry, who is that chiseled jaw man over there talking about football? Right. Taylor Swift is for the girls. Jimmy G's for the women.
Exactly. All right, next up we got Roseboom by Tyler Johnson. Depends on what he's asking for. He came in clutch when we had everybody that was injured on the wide receivers. That's what I mean. Depends on what he's asking for. Witherspoon, please bring him back. Bobby Brown III at the right price because that D-line had a nice rotation, and he was a good rotation in there. John Johnson III, I'm okay seeing gone because he wasn't there most of the year, and our defense looks stacked without him. Hunter Long by McDermott gone by Laurie Mitch McConshinson at the right price. He can go ahead and come back. Troy Reader by Ronnie Rivers at the right price because you always need those rotational running backs in that know the scheme. It's always good to have them in there because running backs get hurt all the time. Jake Hummel, he's a restricted free agent, so bring him back. Same thing with Gilmore and McComb. Those were 3 D-line and pivotal rotational players that they needed throughout the year. And the last one, Michael Hoyt, but only if you bring him back as a defensive tackle and stop doing that fucking outside linebacker bullshit with him. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. If you're going to bring him back as an outside linebacker, cut his ass. I'm sorry. It's not working. I've seen him give up too many run those pick plays where he got to go run out after the running back or tight end, and he just gets completely blown up, and they cost too many points. So there you go. Those are like the 30 people that the Rams have on the free agency. My thoughts on them, at least.
Okay. I do not have a 49ers free agency list, but I can go over and hit some of the high points of what's been going on. Brock Purdy, the massive contract extension that is brewing. They just score again.
It's 5-1 now.
Okay, I saw you give a fist pump, and I was like, Jesus, dude, let's go. Put it on.
Yeah. I just saw it out the corner of my eye, just barely, you know. He's like, yeah, all right.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Let's go,
Who our
America.
national anthem now, Canada? Dare you?
Right?
Uh, the Brock Purdy contract extension, everyone knows that is coming down the pipeline. It's brewing. They've been talking. Before the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy's people and the 49ers front office have been talking. Jed York ran into Brock Purdy's agent at the Super Bowl. Had a brief conversation. It's been amicable so far. The only, I don't even want to say hiccups, but I guess hang-ups so far have been the total length of the deal, be it 4 or 5 years, and the amount of money guaranteed up front. So it seems like a big chunk of the parameters, like total compensation, seems to have been agreed on. Just how long?
It's just
how,
the nitty gritty.
How are we going to break it up?
Yeah,
James, you were saying it's like OTA start April, the first OTA.
Let's see here. I think it was April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deadline for draft picks. Yeah. So the offseason workout programs begin April 21st.
Right. The deal will be done by then in classic 49er fashion, or probably will get done at, like 10 p.m. on the 20th. But it's been said all along, and everybody in 49er land agrees, that Brock Purdy is not missing into the offseason program. Especially, there's going to be turnover, there's going to be new players. He was injured at the end of last year. He needs to be there. He's the leader of the team. This is his team. He wears the C for a reason. Pay the man, get him in the building. None of this dragging it out till July shit like they've done with Ayuk and Bosa and Debo and Kittle and Fred Warner weren't as long, but still, it drug out in a training camp a little bit. So
I feel like those guys you can let drag out because of what their positional, the positional role that they play. A quarterback you need in the locker room from the get-go. You can't have them sitting in OTAs and having someone else throw different routes to them because of the ball speed and everything else. The way it comes off the hand is totally different.
Right, but out of the 5 players I just mentioned, with the exception of Kittle and Warner, every single one of them had a subpar season the year after their holdout.
Right, and it does affect you missing. People missing OTAs does affect more than they think. I personally, I'm a fan of that.
There's something about just getting in the flow of everything like that.
Unless you're like an Aaron Donald or a Bosa,
I mean, Bosa had a subpar season by his defensive player of the year standards, but it was 16 sacks. A lot of teams would be stoked to have a guy with 16 sacks,
Exactly.
How it goes. The other big bit of news in 49er land is the Debo Samuel trade request. No one is really surprised to see this coming. There's a lot of people trying to make it out to be more than it really is. Debo we all knew he was probably going to be on the block this year. Had a bad season last year, was injured a bunch. We saw him, yelling at long snappers. We saw him drop what would have been a game-winning touchdown pass against the Rams on that Thursday night. At the same time, no one else in that locker room didn't think that he wasn't showing up or anything like that. And it turns out Debo was right to yell at Jake Moody. It turns out Debo knew something way sooner than the rest of us did. So maybe there's something to that. And he owned up to that drop in the Rams game. He went and stood in front of the media and said, I got to catch that ball. That's what I got to do. I asked for the ball, to give it to me, and I dropped it. He took ownership, which is what you want. There are a lot of pundits out there. A lot of pundits out there like to poke it, take shots at him and say that, you always see him out posting with his boys and he spends money on cars and this and that. He also posts a lot of time in the gym,
dude's fucking jacked still.
Yeah. The best ability is availability. I don't believe he's played a full season since his rookie season. Part of that, I think, is because of how he plays. Also because of how he plays is how I'm pretty sure he ends up in the AFC North. Pittsburgh has a large dossier on both him and Brandon Ayuk because of the trade talks going on last season.
Right.
I also think that he would fit incredibly well into the Baltimore offense with the way that he plays. Debo's a hard-nosed player. He will get out there and block. He will talk shit. He will fight. He's built to play in the AFC North. So my prediction is that he goes to one of those two teams. And just because I like the guy, don't send him to Cleveland. Don't do it. Don't send him to Cleveland. But I could also see like T. Higgins leaves in free agency. I could see Debo maybe going and joining up in Cincinnati and being another weapon.
That would be
where he doesn't have to worry about being the number one. He could be a complimentary piece.
Yeah,
which
and I
might be
think
the
that
best
would
thing
be
for
a
him.
great scheme for him. Honestly, I think that would be a good fit for him.
Well, again, it's another branch off the Shanahan coaching tree. He's going to be familiar with route concepts, options.
Got some
Probably
gay coaching tree up there.
right, exactly. There's probably a lot of terminology. Well, by Shanahan, I meant Mike Shanahan, not Kyle Shanahan.
I know. That's
Papa Shanny. That's what we're talking about. Papa Shanny over there. So that's the big news out of there. Everyone, I think Hufanga is probably going to leave in free agency because the Niners have young depth at safety with Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa.
right.
Dre Greenlaw, a lot of people are looking at him, but there's also some questions. I mean, he played one half of football last year. Like, did he try to come back too soon from that Achilles? Maybe. Did he look like the old Dre Greenlaw when he was doing that? Absolutely. Like, he was a wrecking ball out there. So,
Yep.
I think that the Niners, and especially I think Robert Saleh coming back, is going to make Dre Greenlaw want to stay. It's probably going to make Talanoa Hufanga want to stay if the numbers are right.
I was going to say, are they going to be able to sign both those players, though, with their and as pretty as well?
That's a great question. There is some dead cap money. Money comes off the book every year. The salary cap goes up every year, but the Niners have the 8th most amount of cap room right now. But a huge portion of that, is gonna go to Brock. Now, maybe do you buy out the last year of his deal or of the extension and have the big money start hitting next year to maybe bring back some of these dudes? Perhaps. Right. The other side of that is you got to start planning for the future a little bit. With some of these older dudes, they've pretty much got a 2-year, $32 million extension for Kittle already hammered out, which I think is great. George Kittle had a monster year last year on a bad team. Let's be honest, it was not a good football team. George Kittle had a monster season and still looks great out there and is a fan favorite and is a locker room favorite. I think him 2 years, $32 million, easy fucking deal. That's not even something to even worry about. $16 million a year for George Kittle. Yeah, you bring him back for sure. And then after that, go year by year with him if you need to. I don't think George Kittle wants to play anywhere else. He loves
no way.
He loves living in the Bay. He loves the team. He loves Brock.
Unless like the Titans make him a really weird offer, because I know he lives in Tennessee mostly.
He lives in Tennessee, but no one wants to play for the Titans right now, dude. They're fucking garbage. Yeah. Like, they're so bad. Like, hey, maybe when they get that new stadium built, he'll want to go and like do one last year there, something like that. Right. And then on the injury front, both Ayuk and McCaffrey are progressing well in recovery from their respective injuries. Both slated to be ready for OTAs, which is good news. Health is wealth, and it's going to be a huge part of, like we talked about earlier, if the Niners are going to pull an Eagles and flip this thing around in a year, you've got to stay healthy.
100%. You got to stay healthy. You brought up trade rumors. I'll go ahead and squash both of these trade rumors right now. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp aren't going anywhere. I don't know what the fuck BS was going on earlier. I don't know what happened. I won't believe any of it until I actually see it, even with the Cooper Kupp coming out and giving his statement. Look, we've seen statements come out through players every year. We see a statement where a player says goodbye to the organization and he's still with the team the next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Matt Stafford's not going anywhere. That doesn't make any sense for them to get rid of Matt Stafford unless he retires.
Right.
The Cooper Kupp thing, I think there might be some legs to it, but I think a team's gonna have to come in and make an offer to the Rams that's too good to pass up.
Right. And I think unless that offer's been made, I don't think it has.
I can see a team like the Bucks doing that. I can see a team like the Bills doing that. I heard the Bills were calling around and kicking the tires on Myles Garrett, which is absolutely fucking terrifying. I heard,
dude, that's another guy we got to talk about real quick about where he's going next year if he can leave.
I heard Bills, Commanders, Bucks. There's a fourth one. But think about it. You put him on that defense in Washington, on that team.
Woo! Yeah.
And also, let's be honest. I don't think it matters to the Browns if they trade him to an AFC or an NFC team, because the Browns aren't going to be.
I only see him going to an NFC team. I don't see the Browns being dumb enough to.
They're not going to trade him to an AFC North team, but if the Bills offer up 2 firsts for him, they're going to trade him to Buffalo.
Right.
Because the Browns are about to go into a rebuild. Let's be honest here. They had that great core and they fucked it up because they're the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to start over. So accumulating some picks, and look, rebuilds happen fast in the NFL. We've all seen it. You can get shit turned around in a season. Like look, Washington,
Texas. Like the Texans too. You know, Washington Texans
But
are
again,
both right there.
right. But again, Cleveland got a
Yeah,
track
yeah,
record of
no,
not being good at this
yeah,
sort of stuff.
yeah. Same thing with the Bears. They're not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Especially in that division, like Washington was lucky in terms of they played in a division with the Cowboys and the Giants. You know
Right,
that greased the wheels for them. AFC North is tough. Like if the Browns are going to get good again, it's going to require like Mike Tomlin retiring, John Harbaugh retiring. You know, stuff like that's going to have to happen.
right,
So,
right.
and
I completely
that's not
agree.
happening. That's not happening anytime soon. Yeah. Myles Garrett going to any of the teams. We just mentioned 3 playoff teams. That's scary. You know, that is
I
that.
definitely don't want. I could see him going to the Bills and not. I mean, definitely making that defense even better. But right now, that the whole thing relies on how Josh Allen plays.
I mean,
So
Josh Allen won the MVP for a reason. And I don't see any reason the way that Buffalo is currently constructed that they don't run it back. I did see James Cook saying he wants $15 million a year. You know, as running
that's fine.
back. Yeah, I think he's worth it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's the counterpunch to Josh Allen on the RPOs and stuff. So
Exactly.
I could fully see that happening. We talked about Washington. You put him on that defense in front of that crowd. Like Myles Garrett's probably going to compete for a Defensive Player of the Year award again. Probably going to do it anywhere he goes. And you put him down in Florida. You know him and Baker with that swagger. You got it on both sides of the ball now.
Right.
Could be fun.
Come
Again,
to LA, baby. Come
in a week, still trash NFC South.
Come to LA, baby. Come show make that defensive line even that much better, dude.
I mean, I know that the Rams say fuck them picks, but the Rams I don't think are in a position to be able to give up 2 firsts.
You never know. You never know.
No. Look, we've all seen the Rams and their the way they value draft picks.
Maybe that's where Cooper Kupp goes.
Sure, you know, yeah. I mean, we'll give you a first, a third, in Cooper Kupp. I can see Cleveland pulling the trigger on that.
Right. It would just be a first and Cooper Kupp, but I don't see Cooper Kupp going anywhere. I really don't.
Yeah, you know, again, there's some legs to these rumors. I think there are. Like the Debo rumors have been swirling for a while.
Debo's rumors have been swirling since he was like his second year in San Francisco.
Right.
I feel like.
I mean, I firmly believe that the Brandon Ayuk to Pittsburgh rumors last year were real, and Brandon Ayuk didn't want to go play in an unfamiliar quarterback situation.
Right. Where he didn't know who was going to be the quarterback. I thought if they would have had like a quarterback lockdown, then a actual quarterback lockdown besides like Fields or Wilson, then he probably would have gotten traded.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. Looking at how completely batshit insane George Pickens went, though, and it was supposed to be a first and Pickens, or it was a third and Pickens for Brandon Ayuk, and watching how just completely like unhinged Antonio Brown level CTE that George Pickens went last year, I'm really glad the Niners didn't pull the trigger on that. I'd rather have an injured Brandon Ayuk costing me a bunch of money than George Pickens running amok in the Bay Area. Dude, it would be Alden Smith all over again, dude.
No one wants that anymore.
All kinds of bad.
Oh, man. All right, should we get into some of these off-season calendar here real quick?
Yeah, let's dive into it.
All right, so first up we got, what's the big date here? The franchise tag window, February 18th to March 4th. That's when that opens up. Niners have any franchise tag players that they're going to see anybody franchise tagging? Right? No.
Nope.
Yeah, because they're going to hammer out the Purdy deal. That's the only one that they can't even franchise tag him because he's still got a year left on his contract.
Exactly.
So, all right. Yeah, I don't see the Rams franchise tag anybody unless maybe Alaric Jackson because he wants so much money because he looks so good this year. But other than that, I don't see Rams franchise tag anybody. Next up, we have the Scouting Combine, which runs, I think, the 25th to the 3rd of March. So that's going to be interesting to see who goes to that. I already heard not the Sanders, the other brother, the cornerback guy. He didn't get invited to it. So
yeah, but I feel like Colorado's pro day will be heavily attended.
Exactly. Dion will make sure of that.
Oh yeah.
Next up would be the March 10th. Would be the legal tampering period starts. I thought that already started in Cabo because that's how the Rams got Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Did you? Did you,
yeah. The fact that there's even an illegal tampering, just fucking let him talk. Like,
right. It's
fuck,
the end of
man?
the season. Who cares? Right.
Right. It's like the second that the last clock ticks off in the Super Bowl is when the illegal tampering period ends. Now let him talk.
I was gonna say, did you hear about what Sean Payton said?
No.
Because Sean Payton heard that their quarterback. Who's their quarterback? The Broncos guy.
Bo Nix.
The rookie. Bo Nix. Bo Nix was going down to the Cabo area where McVay's going, and he says, "You are not allowed to talk to McVay." He's like, "Nope, no. If you see McVay, you need to turn the other way. Like, you cannot go talk to McVay." I thought that was hilarious. So
Sean Payton's no dummy.
yeah, he probably Bo Nix. He probably hears some talk. He's like, "Hey, you see what I did with Stafford? I got him a Super Bowl. Want a Super Bowl next year? Come."
Well, I can see him laying the groundwork to be like, "Hey, man, year or two, you want to come play here?"
Exactly. Yeah. So no hot tub with McVay. I still don't know how the Rams didn't get
because it's Matt Stafford. Because it's Matt Stafford. That's why.
Right. Yeah. And it was from the Lions. It was the Lions at that point too. Yeah. Where the Lions were still the Lions that we all knew and hated and miserable Detroit.
I've never really hated Detroit. I mean, I felt fucking sorry for them more than anything.
Right. But you know what I mean? I didn't mean hate, but the city hated itself.
They were the Lions.
Yeah. Next up, the league year begins on the 12th, so you get 2 days to legally tamper. And then they have their annual league meetings at the beginning of April. The prospects get to come for, they can do the prospects, stop halfway through April. The big one is OTA start April 21st. I think that's the biggest one. USA scored again.
Was it 6-1?
6-1. I guess this Finland defense was supposed to be really good this year, or I guess this is the first year of the
tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. Finland's defense is supposed to be really good, but USA put up 6. But yeah, OTAs, head coaches actually get to say, hey, Putin Nakua, stop fucking puking, actually run these instead. This is better for your body. I don't know if you saw that at all. Puka is already puking. So he's already started his off-season workout program. And yeah, he's already showing videos of himself throwing up, so is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next. Oh, the next big one is the draft in Green Bay, April 24th through the 26th. Dude, I totally forgot it's going to be in Lambeau this year.
Yep.
I think that's going to be a great place for it. I think with all the history there and all that they built up around it, it's going to be a real nice spot.
I don't know, man. It can also be real cold in April here in these parts.
Can it?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually remember last year while watching it, coming home from work bundled up, being like, "Oh, let's watch the draft." I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be in Lambeau next year." Well, we'll see. So something to think
just
about.
Like next year.
Granted, Wisconsinites not afraid of the cold, and they drink a lot. So yeah.
It's just a lot of people won't be going to it. They're like, nope.
I mean, I think some fans will go. Just read the weather report. It gets cold here, fellas. Trust me. Especially if you're not from here, it's a different kind of cold. It sucks.
Hey, just like with it, when the Super Bowl's coming here next year into Northern California, dude, it could be a mud bowl, dude. We've been getting hit with rain after rainstorm after rainstorm. So who knows, right? You never know what next year brings.
Yep.
Let's see here. Then in beginning of May, the rookie mini camps. Then the last owners meeting where they decide all the fucking rules changes. And then halfway through July is the franchise tag extension. So if you want to, and that's the last big one before
the training camp.
The training camps. But yeah, that you either sign that franchise tag player to a big contract, or he stays a franchise tag player that year, halfway through July.
All right.
And that's kind of what the offseason is going to look like here coming up, guys. Lots of stuff to do and a lot of fucking gossip coming. This is where you really can't believe everything you hear, like how I bit with the referee thing.
The fact that it was so easy to fact check too.
I just didn't have the time and patience to look it up. I was like, it's like I had this chemistry and calculus I got going in my head. 20 minutes before this started, I finally got done with my chem homework to be able to hop on this podcast. So, it is what it is. Well, that's why I have you here.
Live fact check.
Well, and then these 4 seasons. So, did you ever get to see in this the four countries or the 4 nations face off? They call it yesterday. Did you watch any of the Canadian Switzerland?
No, I was on the road all day yesterday.
You were on the road all day. Okay, it's looking pretty interesting. The first couple periods, the first period or 2 looking good, and then they just couldn't get. I mean, it's Canada versus USA. I mean, we all know this is going to be Canada USA tournament.
Oh yeah, no, they're setting up to be that way, and it's
yeah.
It's propaganda, bro. It's all propaganda.
100%. 100%.
Propaganda and distractions.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny because they're going to play Saturday. So Canada USA Saturday. So that's a good one to mark on your calendar. If you're going to watch any of this is going to be one to watch. It's this Saturday coming up.
No, actually, I'll probably be doing that because it's supposed to be snowy and terrible here. So
there you go. You'll have a good game to watch on this 4 Nations League. That's the one I'm focused on. I didn't give a shit about this Finland game. I just put it on because I'm studying and we're doing a podcast about sports, so gotta have something on in the background.
It's playing downstairs. Really. I'm pretty sure Marshall's hanging out watching it. So yeah.
There you go. Well, so that kind of brings us to the end of this podcast here. Zach has something for you guys.
Yeah. I want to share something with everybody. It's been a little over a year I've been doing this now, dude.
Yeah. We've been doing it about a year.
Right. So I'm gonna be still around, but just not as much. I'll be stepping away for a little bit. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I honestly am just not able to give this endeavor the time and the effort that's required of it. And for me, to be able to put out a quality product, I do know that while we don't have millions of fans, I do know that people listen and watch and are interested in what we have to say. And honestly, I'm just spread way too thin, and I'm not able to do the research and give this the energy that it requires. So I'm still going to be popping up, but I'm going to be popping up less. James and I have talked about, how that's going to work. Probably going to try a couple different things before we get to that. And you're going to see some other people are going to, start popping up and giving their opinions. We're going to try to find people who aren't complete total buffoons, but with the 2 of us, the bar is low when it comes to stuff like that.
Exactly. So I'm not at college at the age of 40 for no reason.
right, exactly. I've got a giant Darth Vader doll I'm looking at right now in my office because I'm a super totally normal adult. But yeah, so it's going to be the same but different. And I just wanted to say thanks. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. Sports it's not just a game, and it hasn't been to me for most of my life. And people who just say that, I feel sorry for them. Like my love for the Niners and the Sharks and the A's is more than just like wins or losses. It's so many memories, and it's a big part of who I am and things I care about, and and also being from the Bay and having pride about your hometown and the identity and the stuff that goes with it. And I kind of feel sorry for people who just say that it's just a game, that they don't have something in their life, be it sports or a hobby or glass blowing or pool or shooting or whatever it is, that they don't have that thing that really to feel passionate about. And I think that's a very important part of the human experience. is to have those things that you're passionate about, and those things that you get so excited about and you feel so strongly about that some people don't get. I think it's important that everybody has that. And my feeling about sports, it's evolved a lot over the last year. Everyone has heard my opinion on MLB and the A's situation. No need to dive farther back into that. But the massive amount of greed that you see from professional sports franchises and leveraging teams against cities and long-term fan bases, I find very upsetting. And it's a larger problem with greed that as a world we're seeing fully on display, and the wealthy aren't even trying to hide it anymore. If anything, the smugness that what they're throwing into our faces is more evident and that much and disgusting. That's the exact right word to use. The world's in a crazy place right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, and sports media in particular, James and I, when we started doing this, we endeavored to not be two dudes sitting here screaming at each other for an hour. Like, we try to have intelligent conversations. Same time, me and James, like, level of intelligence is we're gonna hit that glass ceiling pretty quick. But we
didn't want to be toxic people on the internet and show toxic people like the toxic New York Giants fan.
You get out what you get out of life, which you get back from life, what you put out into it. And we didn't want to be yelling and spewing toxic energy at each other and stuff like that, because there's a lot of that again out there in sports media and in the world in general. And we wanted to try to do something a little bit different with this. I know that our conversations and our topics take a winding road, most days, most broadcasts. Some people have chimed in with stuff, trying to, I think, clickbait and rage bait and push buttons and stuff like that. And that's not what we're about. We're here more to try to like engage with people and create like a sense of community, a sense of camaraderie, if it were, and just unfortunately, just the time and just the amount of effort that goes into this is just not something I can commit to right now. So I'm going to be stepping back for a little bit, but this isn't a goodbye by any means. It's until I see you all again.
It'll be some time. We're both busy. Zach's a little bit busier than us, especially with these new tariffs. He's going to go out and make a buttload of money because he's a salesman. That's what he does.
I'm trying not to tell the IRS about that money, James.
Dude, we already know you're being watched by the IRS and the FBI, so yeah, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Has Musk decided if we're filing taxes this year? Has he told us what we're doing yet?
Right? Exactly.
Our real president? Yeah.
Our real president? Yeah. Pretty much. I mean,
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be sad to see you go, man. Like I said, he is going to have a role. I'll probably reach out for him for good stories. And then, I'll definitely be reaching out once baseball season comes out. You'll see him a little bit more and more. And then, because he's one of the sport, I feel like, even though over the 49ers and over the Sharks, Zack has a rich history with baseball. The love of the game. His knowledge about baseball is kind of what attracted me to being sports enthusiasts together, was his knowledge about baseball because I feel like we both have a good knowledge about football.
Yeah.
And a good love about our teams, but his knowledge about baseball is what, like, oh, this guy actually knows about sports and he actually knows what he's talking about. So that's why I always tell him to bring up all the baseball facts and stuff.
Untreated ADHD is fantastic. It's great. Like, you can actually use it for good stuff. So
exactly. So once that rolls around, they're early in training, or whatever, the pitchers and catchers are playing, yada yada yada. No one really gives a shit about that. It's good news and good to see them throwing the ball, but let's face it, we're still months away from good baseball coming on around.
The old pop of the ball on the mitt. It's always
exactly
nice.
That little clack, whatever sound you want to call it.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's going to be sad to see Zack go, but he'll still be around. Give me some time. I'll still be popping on here weekly myself for now until I find another host. This was brought on the last second because that's how we and Zack are. We are fly by the seat of our pants. We don't really plan things out.
We don't plan. We're not good at planning.
Yeah, we never plan. That's one of the reasons why these episodes take these weird, windy tasks, because we don't plan anything. We're not scripted. My notes, I did 20 minutes before. Don't mind the chemistry.
He has notes. I don't
I
even
did
have
all
notes.
my chemistry, part of my chemistry notes on here still. I threw that shit aside and started writing out my chemistry notes. So that's how we do it here. That's how we've been doing it. That's how we came to have fun with this. That's what brought our enjoyment in. Unfortunately, Zach, even though it's not as enjoying, he's still having fun. He just can't add it to his ball of stress, and it's something that I'm not gonna force him to do if he doesn't want to do. So
Right. Now, when Spotify comes knocking and wants to pay us a bunch of money, I will definitely be around for that conversation. So
exactly, and that's
yeah.
when we will bring you back in more. We'll bring you back into the fold. I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
well, for sure. No, it'll be great. But yeah, like I said, this isn't goodbye. It's just until next time.
Mm-hmm. And with that, remember, guys, the easiest way to make money is to scare someone on the internet. You guys all have a good night.
See y'all.